Tēnā koutou katoa e te iwi, no mai haere mai ki Tamaki Makaurau. Welcome into Colin Park for round 6 of the Farah Palmer Cup. An undefeated Waikato team travel north to face Auckland in what is destined to be a game with no love lost. The last time these two sides met, Auckland stunned Waikato in the 2022 Premiership semi-final when Waikato were the hot favourites. Can Auckland serve Waikato their first defeat of the season, or will Auckland continue their upward trajectory? I'm Taylor Johnson, and joining me is Black Fern, Kiwi Fern, New Zealand Sevens and Waikato stalwart Hani Hirami Smiler. Hani, what can we expect from this matchup?
Tēnā koe Taylor, kia ora e te iwi. And look, just as we've been up here for a little while now watching the development game before us, and now the rain starts to come down. So I wonder if the conditions play a part in today's game. But look, both these teams, they come in effectively second and third, sitting on the table, with Canterbury taking first spot after yesterday's win. So I'm really excited for these teams. Both have got a good spread of experience and young players coming through. So I think it's going to be a tough one out there.
Let's take a look at the side that Willie Walker named to play. And Auckland are named a dynamic front row in Veliko, Nagata and Fisher. Black Ferns, Blackwell and Roos form a world-class locking duo. And tackling machine Kato Oka joins Moimo and Mikaletu in the Lucies. Puckett and Demant have formed a formidable 9 and 10 pairing. And a change in the midfield. Brunt has been ruled out with a broken nose. Dana Nankerville moves into 12. Moores is elevated to 13 and Milan Edemir joins from the bench. But keep an eye out for the explosive wingers in Vahai and Vahakolo, who have set this competition alight, Honey. And while this Waikato team, they're looking strong too.
Yeah, they line up with Ngātua and Whaionga Telo starting props with Vicky Rose Green getting the nod to start at hooker. Makia Kloppers pair up in the back row with Gabby Sullivan, Simon and Hōhepa, all profound leaders in their own right. Baylor and Nolan, both crafty game drivers, will welcome the support of an experienced midfield and Hōhepa and Masters. And on the edges, Anderson, Wilson Jenkins add pace and poise with the electric Edemia out the back. And look for Blackfern Kalunavali, who returns for her first game of the season.
We see the Waikato team coming out onto the field first. And all full of smiles as well. And you know this team so well, don't you, Honey?
Yeah, Reese Anderson leading them out there, and that's a credit to her. She's playing her 10th game, which is what they call the bell game, and that means she gets a Mulu bell. So pretty cool to see her come out. Young player, plenty to offer the game. Some experience in there with captain China Hōhepa. She takes back the reins this week.
Well, Waikato, undefeated team. They beat Bay of Plenty 50-0, beat Canterbury 27-24. Close match-up against Hawke's Bay 14-10. And then defeated Counties Manukau last weekend 13 points to 5. So they are in good form. Plenty of changes, though, throughout the week in this side and throughout the season as well.
Yeah, big shift with the two Paraone girls, sisters, not playing this week. That would have been a big call from the coaches, as well as Emily Heta not getting the nod this week. So plenty of competition for positions as they start to have one eye on the semi-finals in the next couple of weeks.
We can hear the roar from the crowd because the Auckland Storm have taken the field and they got off to a bumpy start. A loss to the championship promoted team, which was the Hawke's Bay Tui, who are now in the Premiership. They lost 32-31 in round 1. Then a narrow win over the Wellington Pride, 17-15. The thumping of the Bay of Plenty Volcanics, 61-19. And then probably their best performance of the season, a 37-10 win over Counties Manukau. So they'll have their tails up, Honey, and they've got some firepower with their Black Ferns as well.
As well as ground home advantage. You know, they've won the last 6 matches here on this field. So that's a good stat to have behind them as they line up to receive the haka from Waikato.
The challenge has been laid down by this Waikato team, and as I mentioned earlier, the last time these two teams played, it was 26-21 to Auckland in the semi-final last year. It was absolute disbelief for most people because in the regular season, Waikato thumped them 41 points to 5, and then the Auckland team had other ideas and went through to the final. As we see the referees here, Tiana Anderson, and assisted by Wesley Landawinde. And so that game will be on their minds for sure, won't it, honey?
Oh, it sure will be. It'll be a revenge match, won't it? And you think back, they've only actually ever met here once at Colomedon Park, and that was the semi-final back in 2018, and Auckland getting the win there too. So we're up for a big one.
Ruahei Demat gets us underway. Auckland running from right to left. Markia straight into the thick of things. She's been outstanding for Waikato. Number 1 in carries for this team, and you can see why. As Nolan has her first carry. Baylor looks to go wide early, but it just slips through the hands of Hohepa. That's Carla Hohepa in the midfield. And they've got a penalty early, Waikato, straight off the feet. Valiko penalised for Auckland.
What's good early defence coming in from the Auckland Storm there. You can see they're putting pressure on, aiming to drive Auckland back. Is this going out? Sure is.
It's not a kick unless you yell not out, honey. You should know that. But you can already see the impact of the weather. You know, Hohepa just slipping through the hands there. You can see the mud already on everyone. And we're only 1 minute into this game, so expect it to be a hard grind in this weather. Vicky Rose Green with her first throw. Messy, but it ends up on the side of Waikato. And a big hit coming in from Leala Mikaletu'u. Gabby Sutherland does well to absorb it. We've got time off here. Quite early to have a chat about discipline in the game. We're only a minute 20 seconds in. But a second penalty for the same thing straight off their feet. So Auckland will want to tidy up their discipline, that's for sure.
I think the field is quite boggy. Oh, here we go.
Oh, Nolan with a little bit of trickery decides to go to the left-hand side and find the explosive wingers, but another good tackle coming in from Auckland. They put up a defensive masterclass against Counties Manukau on Friday last week. Staying in that same form. Baylor passes it back to Nolan, puts it up high, looking for that 50-22, and it's going to go out on the full. Didn't have much of an angle to work with there.
Yeah, surprising she went for the kick option there. She had numbers out wide. They might try to keep the ball in hand. Waikato's have managed to get quite a few good wins this season, but probably still looking for a real complete performance. In their last match up against Counties, it was really error-driven. Lots of handling errors, wrong decisions, so they'll look to want to tidy that up.
3 penalties in a row for Auckland as well. Kick went out on a full, but they were under an offside advantage. And referee Tiana Nawati pulling them up early. Rose Green finds her target in Hohepa. Brought to ground. Market driven backwards. This Auckland defence has been good so far in the opening few minutes. Nolan skip out pass to her fullback in Leila Edemir tries to get the pass away. Could have dribbled forward, but it goes over the sideline eventually.
I just mentioned it before around the handling errors, and Edemir there didn't need to push that pass. Would have been safer just to go to ground, start to build phases.
Look at the mud covering Wilson Jenkins. This field has been battered. It's very boggy out there. Definitely a day for the Sprigs as Waikato get up to compete, almost get in. In fact, they're applying pressure to this Auckland side. Hohepa, the captain, was getting up to compete, but it is Auckland now going to run it outside from their own 22. Fisher has a good carry. Get it out into the midfield. Nankiville to Moores. Moores not usually in that centre position, usually a winger, but Vahakolo gets rid of her opposite. Puckett. And then a pop pass on the inside into Blackwell. And coming in from the side quite clearly as well was Veliko. And a fourth penalty for Auckland in 4 minutes.
It's their first real opportunity with the ball. They took confidence in backing their running game. They were willing to run it out of their 22. Weren't sort of shaping to look to kick down at all. But now gives Waikato the opportunity to get some green zone attack.
Well, first set piece inside the 22 for Waikato. Opting for a shorter line out as well. Green gets it through, but it's gone through the hands of Kloppers, and it's been a real issue for them this year, the line out. So Auckland will get out of jail here. Demat puts it high. Isn't going to find touch though, so Waikato with an opportunity, but just spilling that ball was Edamere. He has gifted Auckland possession.
Was a beautiful long-range kick there from Ruahei, the man. Just planted her feet probably too early and leant too far forward to take that catch. But you mentioned the line-out success, and you're right, Waikato has struggled with their line-out, only operating at around 63%. They've lost one, and the other two that they have won so far in this opening 5 minutes have been a bit messy.
63%, 12th in the competition, just one team below them, which is pretty poor for a team that's undefeated. But they make up for it elsewhere on the field as Puckett clears the scrum. Demant decides to put the kick up and find some open space too. Ball is going to stay in. Edamere picks it up, but the chase is excellent from Vahai and Sorensen McGee. But Waikato get back in numbers. Baylor tries to go down the short side. Passes it straight into her opposite though, and another penalty against Auckland offside, and you can't help but think maybe she's going to have another chat soon.
Well, Auckland definitely not helping themselves with the amount of penalties they've conceded so far. But Waikato dominating all the possession so far. Probably could use a little bit more patience with ball in hand. They haven't quite built many phases. They're looking to push passes or run down short sides, give offloads that aren't quite on. So let's see a bit of stability coming.
And again, the line-out errors just continue balking. We don't often see that at this level. And you can see the miscommunication. There was a whole lot of voices in that line-out screaming for the ball. And poor Vicky Rose-Green is left a bit confused there. So again, they've gifted possession back to Auckland.
I think there's a bit of rusty with Waikato. They've come off the bye last weekend. And you see Vicky Rose-Green here. She gets the nod to start at hooker. She's a very talented player, but they just kind of missed the mark there in terms of who's leading in that line-out between Kennedy, Simon and China, both looking at each other like, sorry, my fault, my bad, move on, let's go again.
Well, interestingly, from that last set piece move, Ruahei Demant put the ball up in the air. She didn't go through the hands. What do you think they're going to do here?
Yeah, I think that they look for that space out wide. I think they know that Waikato have got a young back three. They look to continue to put pressure on them. But they've got some running power back there too. Oh.
The ball almost ended up on the Waikato side, but Puckett clears under pressure. This time decides to run, and Demant just threw a very strong pass, a billet pass, into Nankiville. But just touching base on what you said before, you know, they've lost Brunt, who was their go-forward in that midfield.
Yeah, a bit of a push pass there. Sure she was expecting it.
Don't know if she was the intended target either, was Nankiville. So they'll scrum again, and the scrum battle has been quite strong between these two, and Auckland, they haven't lost a scrum. In fact, they're the only team who haven't lost a scrum in their own feed in this competition. But a huge blind to work with as well for Waikato. Well, plenty of supporters have come out today in these cold conditions at Kolomena, but look at that. They've got 3 out to the left. Midfield scrum so hard to defend, honey, and look at how much space there is to this right-hand side.
Yeah, plenty of space there. You see Kiriana Nolan, she's gone over to the far side with Hohepa. They look to utilise space there, whether she puts kick down.
Strong push coming in from Auckland, and Puckett has disrupted at the back. Getting a hold of Hohepa, it's messy, but there to tidy up is Gabby Sutherland. They go to the short side this time. They've gone backwards. A haphazard kick from Carla Hohepa under pressure. Sorensen McGee, the 16-year-old out of Auckland girls. Puckett finds Demand again. Big hit coming in from Waikato, from Kennedy Simon. Who else? Trying to find some space. Good passing from Sophie Fisher. Finds Moores. The 2-test Blackfern back in New Zealand. Again, they move into the middle of the field. Demand. Puckett look left, decide to go right. Michaela Tu'u with a pop pass. Hits the deck. Nankiville forced to tidy. Puckett puts in the box kick. Well taken, though, by Reese Anderson in her 10th game, her bell game, as Honey Hirami Smiler mentioned. And then, brilliant hands from Kennedy Simon. Beautiful soft touch, and this is going to open things up here on the right-hand side. And bursting away down the edge is China Hohepa. She puts in the kick, too. And having to go back is Sorensen McGee. She's bobbled it backwards, though. Baylor is there. Good clean coming in from Blackwell. Puckett goes quickly, and all of a sudden the pace of this game is picked up. Simon trying to roll out of there. Demand. Veliko gets the pass away to Moi Moi. Again, they're going to run it out. Auckland confident stuff. Sophie Fisher, well, she's got a 3 on her back. She started her career as a midfielder. High collision there with Vahakolo and Nolan, and they've got the penalty advantage too. The arm is out. Edamir did well to catch that ball, but it's a high tackle, and they'll get a penalty for it. What a passage of play, honey.
Oh, there's a whole lot going on in that, but take your hat off Sophie Fisher. I think she's had a hand in both of those breaks for Auckland. The Hohepa sisters have decided they're going to employ their kicking skills today as well. There's so much going on. But look, great opportunity for Auckland there. I think the penalty came from Kiriana Nolan and the tackle on Caitlin Vahakola. She had to shut her down because you know what she can do with a little bit of space out wide.
Here's a look at that initial break here. Look at that touch from Kennedy Simon.
Good quick hands, isn't it? And then the knockback there. They do well to recover here, Auckland. You can see the experience of Eloise Blackwell coming in, cleaning that ball up.
Referee just asking to get that spacing right between the two at line-out time, and it's been a real issue for Waikato. Let's see if Auckland can be as accurate through Nagata, the Japanese international. Puckett to Demand. Nankiville, they do a smoke to backdoor. Vahakolo in some space. Sorensen McGee is there to bridge again. They keep folding around, trying to find some space on the left edge. Moi Moi. Well, Moi Moi is such a strong carrier. 80 post-contact meters in the top 10 in the competition, but they've just knocked that ball on at ruck time. And both teams really struggling to get in their groove.
Yeah, I think rhythm's really important, and that's what they're both trying to find. I mean, this is really Auckland's first time being down in that 22 area, and unfortunately, errors there not going quite their way. I'm really excited to see this matchup between the two Blues halfbacks and Puckett and Baylor here. Teammates in Super Rugby Opiki, now both starting for their provinces.
Ariana Baylor playing in her 49th Farah Palmer game today. Plenty of experience, as you mentioned. Her opposite, Mel Puckett, playing in her 33rd. Again, the scrum battle has been strong between these two teams. Nolan with the fake, but Demant read it well. Slow to come out from the back of the rack. Big shot coming in by Michaela Tu on Makia, catching her well behind that advantage line. As the rain really starting to come down here now. The wind is in favour of Auckland. Nolan almost got charged there by Nagata. Straight into the hands of the try-scoring machine, Vahai. She's got 8 tries in 4 games. Has the young 18-year-old Vahakolo, though, on that right side. So hard to bring down. Pop pass to Blackwell. And they've got some space, and again, it's the disconnection. Really letting both teams down at the moment. They're just forcing the pass. Getting a bit excited each time they're in space.
You're just lacking a little bit of polish on the end there. But you can see, when they string a few phases together, they do well. Big hit coming on there from Michaela Tu on the veteran Makia. Go, nice. Pushes her back, drives her back. And then the passing here, it's not quite going to hand.
It was a no-look pass, wasn't it? I didn't see that. Nankiville was actually standing a little bit deeper than that. Some season Marky is having. She's number 1 in carries for Waikato, number 1 in offloads, got 2 tries this season. That's what happens when you've got 61 games for the province. Most capped Waikato player for the women. Free kick as well for Waikato. And they're going to elect for another scrum. But one thing I also noticed, Honey, is how quiet it is on the field for both teams on attack and defence. There's not a lot of communication going on.
Yeah, when you look at the difference between the two, you got the Black Fern captain and Ruahei Demant standing in that first 5 for the Auckland side, and young Kiriana Nolan probably asking for a lot of direction from her second 5, Carla Hohepa, the veteran Black Fern herself. There's plenty of firepower out there again for both of them. Still sort of working their way into this first quarter of the game, trying to find their feet, trying to find some rhythm.
Steady scrum, it squirts out the short side, and there's a little bit of trickery on the edge from Reese Anderson, been playing over in Japan. Outstanding work. They clear the ball quickly. Markia again. Michaela Tu trying to hold her back, and down injured someone on that far side. We'll check back on that shortly, but there's some space now on the right edge. Done a brilliant job of going from left to right and spreading the ball, have this Waikato team. And lock on lock there, Kloppers met the shoulder of Blackwell. Baylor gets taken. And they'll come back for a penalty.
Oh, it's a beautiful short side play from Waikato here. You see the ball just pops out. Reese Anderson here gets through the defence. The recycle ball. There's real intention from both teams to just want to play running rugby regardless of the conditions. I think it was Gabby Sutherland that's down and back play there. She's holding at her shoulder, so hopefully she's all right, because she would be a huge loss for Waikato. She took the armband, the captain armband in their last game while China Hohepa was out injured. She offers massive leadership for this Waikato team. Backed a whole lot of trophies last night for her club team, Melville Rugby, in their club prize giving.
I think time is just being off at the moment for Gabby Sutherland, as you said, out of Melville. Playing in her 43rd game today for the province. Been around for a long time. And the rain is really starting to bucket here at Colin Maiden. So you'd hope that the teams will just start to play a little bit closer together and protect that ball. Good on the supporters for braving the conditions though. You see the rain ponchos and the umbrellas all out. But 18 minutes gone in this contest and still yet to see any score. And look at that rain, honey.
When you need an umbrella underneath the tree, it's pretty clear how bad the conditions have poured down here while we sit in the safety of this truck right next to the field.
Rose Green finds her target. That's a better line out. Kennedy Simon brings it down. Speaking of bringing things down, Ruse could have been guilty there of pulling down that more, but they'll play on, and again a knock on in the midfield, this time from Anna Masters, and that is really, I guess, a story of this weather.
Yeah, I think this is the opportunity where both captains need to get some chat in and around their team. You know, make those adjustments in terms of the weather. Keep the ball in a bit tighter. Maybe look to utilise a kicking game. Fight for a bit more territory. Gabby Sullivan, she's back up on her feet. Heavily strapped arm.
Well, Auckland have played here 7 times and have won on all 7 occasions. Waikato played here once, losing that time. And they'll reset the scrum once more. What do you think Auckland need to do to kind of get some more possession and territory? Because at the moment it's really been all Waikato. They just haven't really been able to execute.
Yeah, look, again, with the conditions, they've got to adjust. They've got to look to keep the ball in tight. They've got some massive ball runners in terms of Maia Kawanako, Lani Ruse, Liana Mikiele too, just having ball in hand. Mizuhu, Kataoka, all really strong ball carriers. They can implement them as well as the engine room. That'll help.
Yeah, scrum penalty this time goes to Auckland. Remember that Waikato have 2 Black Ferns on the bench in the front row, and Haupapa Barrett and Kalone Vale still to come on. Demand marches her team up the field just by the 10-metre line inside the Waikato half.
Plenty of supporters made their way up here from the Waikato to support their daughters and partners and nieces and family.
Well, Waikato have always got up to compete at line-out time, but it was successful from Blackwell. Kennedy Simon bustles Melanie Puckett over the sideline.
See here, she tried to take the short side and probably thought, oh no, there's Kennedy. Not the best decision. But look, it's hits like that really can elevate a team. You heard the Waikato, they were pretty happy with that. They really do need to shift the momentum here.
Simon, again the target. This time they bring it down and get it in to the middle of the field, trying to find some space on the edge. There's Faiola Tilo. Sorry, Masters. Gabby Sutherland. And again, getting pushed out over the sideline. This time it's Waikato, so Auckland will get the ball back, and it's been such a stop-start game.
Well, that is excellent defence from Auckland there. Liana Mikiele too. She's thrown everything defensively at Waikato. She saw the opportunity to drive Gabby Sutherland out of the field of play. Employs her troops in and around her.
Nicola to the target there. Questionable if it was straight or not, but they'll play on, and a hit coming in from Makia. Well, she was on the receiving end of one beforehand and decides to dish out one herself. So Auckland driven back. Fisher with a carry. She's been impressive this season, Fisher. Puckett leaves the ball behind, and it's backwards. Here's the call. Roos Ruth with a strong carry, gets the pass away to Michaela Tu'u, leaves it behind, ends up in Puckett's hand. Somehow it's out on the left wing now. And Bahai, so good at finding space. Blackwell brought to ground. This time it's better. They're not forcing the pass. Ruth. They've got the penalty advantage now, do Auckland, so they have the opportunity to play around with it. Puckett, quick hands from Fisher, Demant, and again, a bit of disconnect, but offside were the Waikato team. What will Auckland do here? Going for the three. What do you make of that?
Yeah, interesting call. You got to back the leadership there of Ruahei Demant, but this is a great phase of play. They're starting to shift the ball out wide. Big hit coming in from Makia, but it doesn't knock their confidence to play some expansive football. We talked about them implementing their big ball runners. You saw Maya Kawanako, Lani Ruse getting involved there, Liana Michaela Tu'u. But the decision to take the points here, really, I suppose, just acts as a settler for these. It's been a pretty fiery 24 minutes so far.
It was Angelica Meke Vahai who got the initial break on that left-hand side, and she's first equal in the comp with clean breaks, 13 of them, equal with Aroha Savage, who's also having an incredibly good season, a vintage season, you would say, honey.
Also, the try assist, that she banked 3 already. I mean, she's a very talented young kid.
Well, it bounces off the post and into the goal, so it will be a 3-point lead. The Auckland Storm getting the first points of the game after 24 minutes. Nolan with the restart, puts it high, goes to the left. Fielded well by the flanker, Kataoka. Puckett wrapped up by Makia. Great timing from the veteran. Jeepers, we said her name quite a few times. Ball is slow to come out for Auckland. Michaela Tu'u plays half. Pop pass to Valiko. Waikato trying to disrupt, but Puckett is there. Demant gets the pass out, some skip passing there. Sorensen McGee competing for the ball. Waikato, but they don't win it. Strong run, upward run from Michaela Tu'u. Demant puts in the kick and chase. Is it going to fall for a no? It falls in the hands of Nolan, and it's starting to open up for Nolan. Big shot coming in from Valiko. Out of the Maris Club here in Auckland. They put the ball up. The chase has come from Wilson Jenkins. Bahai hesitated, then gave it away to Nankerville. Auckland just looking a little bit unsure of who to get the ball to. Bounces on the ground and backwards. Roos to Valiko. Such a dynamic, propers Valiko. Ball is messy there on the ground, though. Still available for Puckett. Makia just giving her nightmares at the moment from the base of the ruck. Vahakolo, so explosive off the mark. Good phase play here from Auckland, but equally good defence coming in from Waikato as Valiko sits down Cloppers. Demant. Michaela Tu'u ball tucked up under the left hand, and that slightly drifted forward, so it will be a scrum now to Waikato, but good defence coming in from the Waikato team, but equally good recycling from Auckland.
Yeah, they weathered the storm defensively, did Waikato. Auckland threw everything at them. Unfortunately, that pass not quite going to hand. They had numbers and space to work with as well, but that was really good attack from Auckland, starting to utilise some of their big ball players, ball carriers in terms of Valiko, Ruse, Michaela Tu'u heavily involved.
Valiko there receiving some attention in her 27th Farah Palmer Cup game today. The front row has been impressive, not only at scrum time, but throughout the season. Sophie Fisher, we saw her in some space. She knows how to do a good draw and pass and when to hold on to the ball. But Nagata, the hooker, is the best, or should I say most accurate tackler in the competition. 31 from 32 tackles heading into this, running at 97%. First equal with Luca Connor. Oh, and if you are interested in the other results from the Farah Palmer Cup, it's the Hawke's Bay Tui who ended up getting up over the Bay of Plenty Volcanics, 35 points to 28. And honey, how good have Hawke's Bay been coming up into the premiership? Usually the championship sides, they struggle to get a win, but Hawke's Bay have really hit the ground running in the premiership.
Oh, they sure have, right from the get-go. As we mentioned earlier, getting that first off win in round one to Auckland by 1 point. They pushed Waikato right to the brink too. That was only 10-14 between that game. They had dominated Wellington and then probably fell away a little bit up against Canterbury. But that game today against Bay of Plenty could have gone either way. The lead changed hand quite a few times. So this competition is shaping up to be quite competitive this year. Can't pick the top four yet.
Steady scrum from Waikato. Baylor finds Hawhepper, and it's a beautiful cut coming in from her midfield partner Masters. Kennedy Simon holds up the pass brilliantly, and China Hawhepper will be the one to score, the captain, but it was well set up in the midfield from the set piece move.
Well, those are one of the ones that you practice at training time and time again, and it pays off with the veteran there, Carla Hawhepper. She starts it, and her sister in China here, Hawhepper, finishes it off for Waikato. First try of the match, but you see here, it's a late cut. Carla drags the defender across, and the big Anna Masters goes through. She's got a lot of pace, but she finds Kennedy Simon in support, and a late pass there for China Hawhepper. She'll be happy with that one.
Brilliant team try coming in from Waikato. It started off with that set piece though, because they have struggled as well at scrum time with a strong Auckland pack, but they got a nice steady platform that allowed their backline to get good front foot ball. But Carla Hawhepper, the 28 test Blackfern, executing a perfect late cut with Hannah Masters. And charge down, Ariana Baylor. Guilty of standing probably a bit too close to the post, but brilliant chase coming in. Might have been Vahakolo. Was too. So only 5 points to 3. That could be quite telling later on in the game. The man with the restart puts it on the 10. In fact, it's going to be short. Could see what they were trying to do there, but they're going to cough the ball up back to Waikato with a midfield scrum. Well, interestingly, Auckland have won the first 13 games between these two teams right up until 2015, and since then have only won 2 of the last 6 subsequent meetings. And you could say that women's rugby in Waikato has grown substantially over the past few years, honey.
Oh, significantly. Both a premiership competition and a championship competition down there. 12 teams in total, which makes hard work for the coaches, Greg Smith, to pick the CPC team.
Ball squirts out the back of the scrum for Baylor. Nolan puts it high, looking for a 50-22. Again, isn't going to get it. Sorensen McGee is back there, puts in the right foot step, jumped up in the air, was taken by Kennedy Simon. An unconventional run from Sorensen McGee. And holding on is the call against Waikato.
Interesting here, she almost jumps. Tries to jump over Kennedy Simon there. She then loses the ball as a turnover, but referees ruled it and they've found some space here.
Well, they went quickly through Demant instead of kicking for touch, and they get it out to that left side. Both teams always looking to find space out on the edges. Sophie Fisher with that pass, and it drifted forward. Just taking it right up the guts was Sophie Fisher. Take a look here.
See what they're doing. She runs hard and direct. Probably needed to give that pass just a second earlier, but you can see what they're doing. They're implementing quite a strong offload game. Trying to keep that ball alive. I don't think anybody was in front of Michele too. She had a clear run to the line there.
So the last scrum we saw the try scored for Waikato. Brilliant set piece execution. You got players to the left and right. See the big shunt from Auckland too. The Waikato team rocked backwards. And going too early was Puckett. You could see it too. She hadn't brought it out. And we're going to have a chat here. So warning issued to the Auckland team. The Waikato fans are happy with their 2-point lead. It's narrow, but Baylor goes quickly and again charged by Roos. Interesting decision there to take the quick tap and then go for a kick. But they'll play on. Natua gets the pop pass away to Gabby Sutherland and over that ball and off her feet as Auckland. Baylor gets it to Rose Green, runs in between a prop sandwich. Go out to the left to Gabby Sutherland. Skip out pass, this time to the centre and Masters. No one there to play halfback, so it's slow ball. Nolan to Markia. Some big shoulders being put on today. As we mentioned beforehand, there'll be plenty of feeling in this game. They'll come back for the penalty advantage, and it looks like Moi there, down injured from the College Rifles Club. I just heard a call from the sideline too. One of the coaches saying, everyone just take a breath and be patient.
Well, there's definitely no love lost between these two teams, and you can feel it almost hit back here on the sideline with the impact on the defence that's coming in from both sides. It's Moi gets Sing to. She's been strong so far this game.
She's had a good season as Moi. She's another person in the top 10 for tackle percentage. 41 from 45 heading into this game at 91%. Won 6 turnovers for the team too, and she's going to go to the sideline as well. Clutching her left shoulder. So coming onto the field is Mama Vaipulu out of College Rifles in her 15th game. So play will resume with Nolan kicking for touch. Might not find it. In fact, it's kept in brilliantly from Vahakolo. Very skillful from the right winger. Again, gets the ball in hand as well. And really fighting for the ball there was Waikato, but illegally so, not staying on their feet. Wind here really picking up as well at Colin Maiden.
Definitely a work on the kicking game for Waikato. We've seen a couple of charge downs early, as well as Kiana Nolan not quite making the line.
Najiho Nagata overthrows it. Vicky Rose Green is there. Demant though straight in over that ball. Her support players weren't quick enough. Demant wanted to go quickly. They held it up, so Should kick for touch. That one's not going to find touch either. In fact, it will. Assisted, though, by Kiriana Nolan. And errors have been prominent in both teams this afternoon.
Yeah, important here for Nagata and Auckland to get this line out right. They're in prime attacking position here.
Short line out for Auckland. They've got 5 in there. Straight into the arms of Bruce, and in fact, 2 straight.
Yeah, no doubt Coach Willie Walker will be having a chat at half-time, which isn't too far away, with the Auckland forwards. Tidy up that line-out area.
So inside their own 22, Waikato will look to exit. 3.5 minutes left in the first half. Steady scrum. Baylor clears. Finds Nolan. They're going to run it from inside their own 22. And again, it's Masters with the breakaway. Trying to find her speed, and just bobbling it was Wilson Jenkins. She scored 3 tries already this year. You just think she saw some wide open space and took her eyes off the ball.
Oh, this was a beautiful break from Anna Masters. She's so powerful and strong. Straight in, give a good pass to Shantae Wilson-Jenkins there. She'll be disappointed with that one. Young player out of Tokoro, plays for Southern United. She's the only player from Tokoro in the team at the moment.
What you were saying about the Waikato Club Comp, because Auckland, Harbour and Counties all play in one competition with, I think, 7 teams. And Waikato One Province has 12. There's so many different teams represented in this Waikato side as well. It's really good to see, and the growth of women's rugby, as I said, in Waikato has been phenomenal.
Especially in and around the wider Waikato too. Teams, Pataru, Tokoro, in the Premiership, you've got Hauraki, Matamata all pulling through teams. Taupiri had another good successful year all the way through to Otorohanga, so really widespread in terms of the competition down there.
Got Kihi in there as well. Everyone's well represented. So just under 2 minutes left to go in this half. Just 1 try to China Hohepa, the captain for Waikato. As Puckett clears, finds a man, and she skips the pass out to Moores, and Vahai out the back door, and again the passing just not accurate from Auckland. Vahakolo forced to dive on it and knocks the ball on, and going over the touchline is Waikato. So another scrum, and the skill set has been pretty messy from both teams. I think they'll both be looking forward to half-time just to reset and have another go at this.
Yeah, just patience, really. You've got so much firepower out on those fringes. Caitlin Vahakolo, Black Fern, Kiwi Fern. I know they're trying to get the ball into her hands because she is a real weapon for Auckland. And on the other side, Angelica Mekimeke Vahai. Well, we've seen what she can do so far for this competition. So, again, if they go back to what they were doing so well, sort of middle quarter of this game, just building those phases. Now Waikato get an opportunity. They haven't been down in their half much this game.
So right about Vahai. Her and Vahakolo have the most carries out of anyone in Auckland, but Vahai's hardly touched the ball this game. Baylor finds her winger, and she almost gets through, but Puckett is there. Baylor again to Nolan, gets on the outside shoulder. Vahai as well, cut in. And Edamere angled back inside. She had support to her right. Cloppers, well, slightly isolated there. Demant really fighting, pulls in the halfback and will be penalised for it. Marquette. Poor Hepper to her sister. And they'll come back for the penalty, and you can't help but think here's a yellow card.
Heard the double whistle, there's the card there. Picked by Pulu. Yeah, Mama by Pulu there. So she'll see 10 minutes as we round out this half. I wonder if they take the points here, Waikato.
You'd think if we're in overtime, they'd go for the kick, and that's exactly what they're doing. See the ARs going in behind the post, and with this, they could give themselves a 5-point lead heading into the half. But you'd almost think for their dominance, they probably should be up by a bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. They've probably started to share the amount of possession between the two teams as Ariana Baylor lines this one up.
We spent most of the game down this end of the field. Baylor bangs it through the middle of the post. And referee blows halftime, so it is the visitors Waikato with an 8-3 lead here at Colemaiden Park over the Auckland Storm.
A lot can happen in 4 years. But one thing stays the same. The urge to beat the best on the world's biggest stage. Rugby World Cup 2023 starts September, live on Sky Sport.
You can easily nail Father's Day at Dad's favourite place. If you're looking for a gift idea for your dad, then just go where Dad goes. With our huge range and lowest prices, we can help you nail Father's Day.
Grab the Zito Compact Drill Driver Kit, only $75. Or an Zito Paint Spray Gun, just $99. Treat him to this tight and soft cooler bag for only $44.98.
Where you find a competitor's lower price on the same stocked item, we'll beat it by 15%. Lowest prices are just the beginning.
This is a different way to buy a home. With KiwiBank, you can team up with a sister, friends, extended whānau, or your workmates, neighbours, friends, son. Okay, maybe not just anyone. This is helping more Kiwi into their own home. This is Ko-Own from KiwiBank.
Greg Rover from Nova. Yes, we do offer great value mobile now. Our mobile multi-saver combo gives you endless mobile data from just $29 a month. Plus, you'll enjoy endless calls and texts to New Zealand and Australia. Even better, you can get up to 5 SIMs on your account and everyone gets 3 months free. Yes, it's ideal for small businesses too. Just head to our website. Well, I don't necessarily rhyme. Not all the time.
Does that mean you had 70 birthdays?
Oh, we're on.
Yo, Dad, run us straight.
Oh, Dad, you okay? That was just a practice. We on. Look, Auntie, you ginger nut. You mind? We're on. We on. We're on. We on, Auntie. We on.
Keep your whānau protected and get your COVID booster today. We on.
We're so good today. Absolute start. Good game.
Triumphant happiness is like when your friend, Janice, thinks she's the winner, but then the tables turn.
Oh, is that yours?
Because now she knows. You get more in a Mazda.
We've upgraded our comfort, so you can upgrade yours. Emma Sleep experts have carefully designed the Emma Comfort mattress based on Kiwi customer preferences, so that our improved 3-zone technology gives you better support and pressure relief for your most peaceful sleep ever. Try the Emma mattress at home for 120 nights, risk-free. Visit emmasleep.co.nz today.
Would you rather toes the nipple or nipples the toe?
Imagine stubbing your nipple.
Would you rather live with the regret of something you did or something you didn't do? Alright, I've got one. Would you rather have gone out with your mates last night and had too many beers? And maybe you thought about everyone else in your life? Or would you rather have gone out with your mates last night and jumped in your car and get stopped by the cops? What would you rather?
Formula One lights up the Netherlands on Sky Sport.
Vamos, come on! And it's lights out and away we go! A new adventure in Formula One.
Starts Friday. Sky Sport.
No, my hoki mai, welcome back to Colemaiden Park in Tamaki Makaurau, where the Auckland Storm trail Waikato 3 points to 8. And what was a very stop-start half between these two teams, both unable to really find their groove, and the weather conditions certainly played a part. But you can see now the umbrellas are down, and it seems to have cleared up for hopefully a good second half. But, honey, let's take a look at the highlights of the first half, and not too many, with just one try being scored. But first up, it was Auckland to score with a 3-pointer.
Yeah, and it was a really early call from Ruahei Demant to come in here and take that kicking opportunity, sort of 24 minutes in. But this was a beautifully worked try from Waikato. You see the veteran Tala Hohepa drags and cuts with Anna Masters. Good support play coming in from Kennedy Simon, and China Hohepa takes the treats and finishes off that only try in this first half.
As we mentioned, it was very stop-start, and both teams probably forcing the passing and guilty of a few errors, and this is a big error too in the scheme of things. It was just a charge down from Vahakola Baylor. But kicking, not just this one, but kicking in general play has been a big issue for both teams, hasn't it?
Yeah, we've seen a couple of charge downs come through. But look, both teams have been in the grind. The defensive efforts and hits have been really strong, so there's still a lot to work on, and specifically attack-wise. Need to see them build a few more phases. Bunting, Alan Bunting, Black Ferns coach, up there on the bench, watching with a careful eye on his current Black Ferns and any bolters that might come through.
Absolutely. Don't go anywhere, because coming up right after this, we have the second half between Waikato and Auckland here in Colemaiden Park.
The home of rugby becomes our forge, fine-tuning the black machine.
Here is Brazil. Oh my God!
All Blacks, Springboks, the final hit out. Saturday, live Sky Sport 1.
When it comes to taking care of Colin, I always treat monthly. The right dose at the right time. It's easier on him. And because it's a tasty little chew that treats fleas, ticks and worms all at once, it's easier on me. NextGuard Spectra. It's easier on both of us.
Sometimes accidents happen, and when you and your car have had a rough day, we'll make sure you get a free ride home to the people you love. Protect your car with AMI car insurance.
Breaker of life. I'm working.
Work in another room.
Ah!
Have a break. Have a Kit Kat.
Hi-ho.
Hi-ho.
Hi-ho, 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 hi-ho. It's home from our we go. Hi-ho, hi-ho. It's home from our we go. Hi-ho.
The hardcore, full contact, thrills and spills of the NZ Superstock Teams Champs is coming up in February, and you could be going with 8 VIP experiences up for grabs. Just spend over $200 from your local NZ Service Centre or through your host doctor, and you're in with a chance to win. Flights, transfers, accommodation and tickets for you and a mate to Palmerston North are all included. So get registered online now.
Didn't get your enrolment update pack? You'll need to enrol or update your details. It's quick and easy to do online with just your New Zealand driver licence or passport. Feed up time. Or not. Go to vote.nz or call 0800 36 76 56.
What are you up to, Juddy?
I'm looking at the multitude of options for farmers to grow their own feed.
You need glasses?
No, allowed hailing. Farmers need to hear this.
Spot on, Juddy. There's huge benefits for farm-grown feed. Available pasture and forage options means farmers have choice.
And we have all the information to help farmers make that choice at gofarmgrowing.co.nz so they can grow with confidence.
That's a wrap, Juddy.
It's a Brassica Ale.
Resene is splashing out with 2 great offers. Buy 1 Resene test pot, get 1 free, and get 20% off Resene 10-litre premium paints and wood stains, only for a limited time, only with Resene.
Experience the pure electric power and performance of 2022's European Car of the Year with the savings of today's Clean Car Rebate. Discover faster forward in the Kia EV6 Air from $76,990. See your Kia dealer today.
Kia, movement that inspires.
Robert Rabbit has lost his boots. Looking. He found them. No.
And done.
You've witnessed moments you'll never forget. Now all the skill, drama and passion comes down to this. Witness incredible. Spain, England. Tonight, live on Sky Sport 1.
Welcome back to this round 6 clash in the Farah Palmer Cup Premiership, where the Auckland Storm are trailing Waikato 3-8 here at Colin Maiden Park. And it's been a very stop-start game between two teams in the first half. The rain was pouring down here in Auckland. It seems to have steadied a bit, so we could see a much more efficient first half, or second half, should I say, from both of these sides. But, honey, what do you think Waikato need to do to really extend their lead here?
Yeah, I think both teams really just need to tidy up their handling errors and just look to build more phases. Patience is probably going to be key for them, as well as be interesting to see if either team change their tactics in terms of implementing more of a kicking game to, I suppose, adjust to the conditions. Remember, Auckland still has Mama Vaipulu in the bench. They gave away a lot of penalties, eventually being penalised just before the half-time there, so they need to tidy up their discipline to stay in this game.
You're right, in the opening 8 minutes, they had 7 penalties against them, Auckland. They managed to tidy things up towards the end of that first half, but as you said, they ended up getting Vaipulu into the sin bin, so they've got a 1-woman advantage to Waikato at the moment. As you can see there, the ground is so muddy, very heavy, and it's really hard to play on a field with these kind of conditions, honey.
Yeah, well, the breakdown's been fairly scrappy for both sides, and, you know, you can sort of see both teams, they're willing to sort of run the ball from all areas of the game, so we'll see if they maybe change the attack with that. Wait to see if anyone brings on any changes at this point. I mean, it's a tight game, and both these teams are fighting for semi-final positions.
So Waikato will now have the wind and their backs in the second half. As Nolan gets us underway in the final game of round 6. Fisher with a first up carry. Taken around the legs by Kennedy Simon. Valiko loves the carry, does Valiko. Good on her feet too. Marches forward about 5 more metres in that collision area. Michaela 2 picks. And this is much better stuff from Auckland, going so quickly as Roos hits the deck. Gets it up to Puckett. She fires it out to the left-hand side. Moores, ball in 2 hands, gets the pass away to her hooker in Nagata. Someone down injured for Waikato, slow to her feet. It was Shana Hohepa, but she's back. As Blackwell, tackled by Simon. They go back to the left-hand side. Mikana 2 on a strong angle, committing 2 defenders, but the ball was just left there. No one protecting it. Toka Natua with the pass out. There's some space now on that left-hand side. She's had a strong game, has Masters. Finds Anderson, Reese Anderson, and then inside to Gabby Sutherland. A bit static at the moment are Waikato, and Auckland have turned it over. And it's that woman there, Vaha Kolo, already has 5 turnovers to her name this season. A winger working so hard off the ball. There's a player down and back play still for Waikato, and again, driven behind the advantage line from this Auckland defence, and we've got off to a quick start here in the second half, honey.
Oh, well, that's a frantic 1 minute and a half as they came out. We talked about utilising a bit more patience and kicking game, but both teams come out with a real running intent and are willing to run from all areas of the field.
Looks like Vicky Rose Green there.
I didn't quite see what happened. She went down. We've got Chris Valiko down also from Auckland. But, I mean, both teams came out with so much energy, a real hiss and a roar. Again, I'm loving the matchup between Liana Mikaele-Tu'u and Victoria Makia. They seem to be going hit for hit, shot for shot. But also the offload game, Liana Mikaele-Tu'u, she finds her best mate, Maya Ruse, running off her shoulder there. We're recycling the ball nice and quick, Auckland, but unfortunately got that turnover, and Waikato almost turn around and implement the exact same game plan.
So the rain has once again decided to come back. Only stopped during the halftime break. As you can see, Vicky Rose Green there getting her left leg strapped up.
Liana Mikaele-Tu'u here, coming to have a chat to
the AR, it looked like. So time is back on. Valiko and Green both receiving their running repairs and back to it. But Prima taking opportunity here for Auckland. As we see, Liana was talking to one of her coaches. Puckett comes to the right-hand side, gets it in the hands of Vahakolo, gets around the outside of her defender. Had no right to get so many metres, did Vahakolo, but it just breaks down for them when she gets the pass away. And she stole the ball back too, but they'll come back for that knock-on. And jeepers, Caitlin Vahakolo has really been a standout since making that switch from league to union.
Oh, she's fiery, isn't it? Look at it. She does well to get the breakdown here. Tries to give the offload though, it's not quite on. She jumps back on her feet here, makes the tackle and then goes in for the turnover. She's a real competitor, Caitlin Vahakolo. She's been a real weapon for Auckland, as you mentioned, since converting over to rugby.
So often we see players go the other way, so it's quite nice to see people come from league to union. We're just going back and forth between the two. Why not, eh, honey? Like yourself. As we go to Waikato. We get some go forward through Hohepa. Looks like they're going to continue to run it out from their own 22. Markia with the offload. And here's some space on that right-hand side. Edamir did well to beat the first defender. Probably could have given it out to that right to Wilson Jenkins. And then the line speed from Auckland disrupting. And it will be an Auckland scrum feed.
Well, you're right. They choose to run it right from their red zone, and it paid off. They've gained a good 40 metres down the field there, but unfortunate Kennedy Simon pops up with the error as the third helicopter of today flies over.
helicopters in this 44 minutes of rugby than I have in like a year. Again, another opportunity for Auckland to strike, and you'd have to say the Waikato defence at these set-piece moves has been strong because they've been unable to really break the line. Oh, and Tiana Ngawati has got Okanatua going in on an angle, so they'll go quickly, Auckland. Demet faked the pass to Nankavu and then took it in herself for high in some space, passes it out to Sorensen McGee, and that is all class from the Black Fern captain, Ruahei Demet.
Well, we've been waiting all game for this backline to ignite themselves, and who better than to start it off but Ruahei Demet. Just her tactical awareness here. There's not a lot on. They decide to go quickly here through Puckett. And Ruahei, she just tends to have so much time with ball in hand. She sort of fakes the pass here, gets a beautiful offload to Vahai, who goes through, she goes in the outside and finds Sorensen McGee. Good support play, great try for Auckland.
Sorensen McGee, just 16 years old, at Auckland Girls Grammar, plays for College Rifles, playing in her 4th game for Auckland. And Vahai, I mentioned it earlier, she's hardly touched the ball in this game. The 18-year-old from One Tree Hill College. First in metres with 563, first in clean breaks, first in tries. Waikato have done a good job to shut her out. But Demand with a chance to put her team in front. And the ball is away to the right. So 8-all here at Colin Maiden Park in the Farah Palmer Cup. 46 minutes gone. Plenty of rugby still to come.
How good is this when they manage to play some good running rugby and they can create space through great support play. The young talent coming through. It's beautiful to watch.
Sophie Bishop. Was that a falcon? But she tried to run onto the ball and it bounced off, and unfortunately Blackwell just couldn't not catch that ball, so it was offside. And Waikato have a chance, really their first chance to enter the 22 of Auckland in this half, where in the first half they really had all of the territory.
Well, it looks like it comes off the chest, and Ella just didn't quite have time to react there. Falls straight into her hands. Waikato, they had success of the driving more from their line out in the previous game against County. So see if they take that option again here. Go straight down.
Ruse does a good job of sacking, but Toka Natua inches closer and closer, and they're going to try and pick and go over. They're over the line now, but whether they can get the ball down, no, they can't. And it was Blackwell who held up Ash Gabby Sutherland. Perhaps wasn't the right option, though, because they had a whole back line stacked out ready for it. But equally, it was good defence from Blackwell.
Oh, great defence from Auckland there. To keep Wellington out. Waikato, sorry.
Demand finds Baylor, and well, that's a wayward pass from Faionga Tilo. And Hohepa thrown to the ground by Nagata, and then a draw and pass out on the right-hand side for Wilson Jenkins. Wilson Jenkins hammered over the touchline by Sorensen McGee. And those ones, you almost want them just to angle back in and find some support. As the rain really starts to come down again in the second half.
Oh, it sure is bucketing down now. It puts a lot more pressure on the skill sets of these players out here.
Bruce goes high, it bounces in, Puckett's arms. Mikaele Tu'u jumps out of the first tackle, always breaks the first few tackles, does Mikaele Tu'u. Demand thumps the ball downfield. That is a brilliant kick from Demand all the way inside her 22, and they're 5 metres out from their own line. Waikato, they'll need to be careful with it here because the ball is very slippery under these conditions. Defence is swarming in from Auckland. Nankivell tries to get her hands on the ball, eventually drives over the arriving players for Waikato. Low pass and it's knocked on, and we mentioned earlier teams adjusting to the conditions, and when it's raining like this you got to step a bit closer than that.
Oh, Kennedy Simon will be hugely disappointed with that second ball handling error for her. Really uncharacteristic from her, but I mean, it was a great kick from Auckland. And they're in now prime opportunity to stretch out some leaders. We see some changes coming in here for Waikato. Grace Haupapa-Barrett and Tania Kalunavali have given the nod. They come on for Esther Tilo Whaonga and Vicky Rose Green.
Tania Kalunavali, as you mentioned in the build-up, her first appearance of the season, the 8-test Black Fern. Grace Haupapa-Barrett with 3 tests to her name as well. Not bad replacements to bring on, especially when their scrum has had some troubles today. In fact, Tokanatu as well, a Black Fern. So all Black Fern front row for Waikato now. 33 tests between them, and it's definitely made a difference. You can see the Auckland scrum going backwards, but it's just quick hands out to the edge for height, held around the ankles by Eramir. Ball is slow to come out. Vaipulu back on to the field for Auckland now, so it's 15 on 15 again. She was in the sin bin. Quick hands once more. Nagata driven back. Kennedy Simon. Auckland committing lots of numbers to the breakdown, trying to look after that ball. They've got the advantage now too, to Auckland. Demant getting in over that ball was Haupapa-Barrett. She won it as well, cleanly. But offside was the call from the earlier play.
Well, there's a whole lot of urgency that have come in from both teams. Now, they've both stayed in the grind. Is Ruahei. She's going to go to the line here. Going to back their line out.
Well, definitely in kickable distance for Demand, and we saw in the first half that they were quick to go to the post when they had a penalty. So backing their line out, as you say. And onto the field, another replacement for Waikato, Mia Anderson, out of the varsity club. Originally from Kirikiri High, played for the Northland Cody, and it's a line out that was well and truly straight. Rue's having to reach over to grab it. Close to the line now, Ruse. She won the line out. Can she get over? No, driven backwards. Strong defense from Natua. Pick and go, Vaipulu. Competing as Haupapa-Barrett. She might have her hands on the ball. Penalised though for it. Puckett is going to go quickly. Fakes to go to the short side. Mia Anderson on Valiko. They go quick again. Demand tries to put in some footwork. Inching closer. Still a couple metres out. They're going to pick and go. Here comes Miana Mikaele Tu'u. She's over the line, but is she held up? Well, nothing being caught here from the referee. You would have thought it was held up there. Well, they've pulled the halfback in as well, have Waikato, but it's missed from the ref. They'll go quickly again. Great low defence coming in from the substitutions. Another good tackle, this time by the 10, Kiriana Nolan. Monstrous defence from Waikato. How they came up with that ball, unsure. But it is on their side, and you can hear the calls from the crowd The Waikato supporters up on their feet.
Oh, that is superb defence from Waikato. Auckland threw everything at them. They had so many opportunities, but Waikato, they continued to stay low. They stayed connected and held them out. See here, I think it's Kalunivali. She pulls the half back in. Not quite caught by the ref. The quick turnover there. And Kennedy Simon.
Oh, I think Waikato getting away with some over there. And then getting up to compete in the line-out was Bruce, but she's going to be penalised for it, pulling down on Simon's arm. So Baylor is going to kick for touch and try and get out of their own half. And it must be something about this side of the field, honey, because in the first half we were camped down here. Second half, same thing. Waikato really struggling to exit at the moment. Hope Upper Barrett throws it at the back. It hits Tanya Kalunivali, but she knocks it on. And very slippery conditions. You can see the mud all over the Auckland players and the Waikato team. Line speed coming up from Waikato. Moores from a standing start gets the pass away. Falls in the hands of Vahakolo, and she's really given everything with every run this afternoon, has Vahakolo. As was this woman right here, and you said it before, Makia and Mikele too have a target on each other's backs, that is for sure, as Fisher continues the onslaught from Auckland, and they've got a penalty too.
Yeah, I think the penalty from the previous ruck against Grace Hope Upper Barrett. But once again, gives opportunity for Auckland to work their way up the field.
Again, Waikato, though, they haven't really employed a kicking game in this half. So, as I said, they've been mainly camped inside their own half of the field, and they're turning the ball over, and Auckland have had multiple attempts to crack their line. Can they do it again? So Nagata, the Japanese international, gets the pass away. They're not going to maul it. They're going to get it into the midfield, into that woman there. And again, taken by Makia. Hope Upper Barrett got up to disrupt, stole the ball. What an injection from the bench is Hope Upper Barrett. Low pass caught by Tokunatua. Good skills there. Gets rid of her two defenders. Ball still available at the back. Baylor. Fake to go left, had to go right. Hope Upper Barrett still fighting on her feet. The Otara Honga representative played for Rewa though, but she's been on fire in this game. A little chip and chase idea coming in from Reese Anderson, but Veliko was back there. And again, Messi Kataoka couldn't take it, so Moores had to tidy up, but they've lost plenty of metres, have Auckland. Puckett comes to the right. Simon was caught offside. So they're under another advantage. Veliko knocks the ball on. And it looks like Waikato's going to have a talking to this time.
Well, multiple infringements there for offside. So referee Tana Ngawati having a chat to Ariana Baylor and Kennedy Simon there. But look at these big hits coming in. Vaipulu We saw her see time for a yellow card earlier. She makes up for it with her bruising defence. We talked about them changing tactics, and you can see Auckland is very much implemented to use the kicking skills of Ruahei Demand. And on the flip side, Waikato continue to attempt to roll it out as we see some more changes going on. The veteran herself, Eldora Tunu.
France Bloomfield as well, so 2 internationals coming off the bench. Aldori Tunu, obviously a 24 test Blackfern, and France Bloomfield, Manu Sina halfback onto the field too, so not bad replacements to bring on for the Storm. And that one is wayward from Nagata, so it's back in the arms of Waikato, but they've really struggled to exit, and that's a brilliant turnover from Eloise Blackwell. Perfect body position in over the ball.
Well, it's definitely in kicking range, and she's opted for it. It's a good decision from Ruahei Demand. They've thrown everything at Waikato. They know that this game is within reach, as well as that kicking option with her skill set.
I'm also loving the attitude of Eloise Blackwell. She always is so energetic. She gets a turnover and she's on top of the world, but she's always really niggly inside the rucks as well, and trying to get in the minds of those Waikato defenders. So Dement with an opportunity here to put Auckland in the lead for the first time since the opening few minutes, where they went up 3-0. And bangs it right down the middle of the post. So Auckland now leading 11 points to 8 over Waikato with just over 20 minutes to play in this Farah Palmer Cup Premiership match. So with the restart, Waikato, and Itunu with her first touch of the ball is met by Mia Anderson, and it's been lost by Waikato. So a rare opportunity inside the half of Auckland for Waikato. Tokanatu, as she's had a big shift today. Baylor holds the ball up. Kolona Vale hitting a strong tackle by Mikaele Tu'u and knocks the ball on. So Vaipulu to Dement. Dement puts boot to ball, looking for that territory game. There's no one back home. And Vaha Kolo, brilliant chase. But perfect turnover as well coming in from Masters, showing her experience. Anna Masters. Pop pass from Hopapa Barrett to Punileo on the field. The clearance coming in from Waikato, allowing the ball to bounce, was Vahakolo, but they've got numbers to the left now. If they can just draw and pass and get some go forward. Moores passes it to Nankiville. Good tackle around the ankles from Wilson Jenkins. Bloomfield waits for her players to arrive. Mikaele Tu'u decides to put in the kick. I think that's the first I've seen from Mikaele Tu'u, but again, straight into the thick of it, really fighting hard today is Mikaele Tu'u. Kataoka tried to disrupt, unable to do so. Kennedy Simon busting through a tackle. Goes one-on-one with her Blackfern co-captain, Dement. Two members of the New Zealand Order of Merit going head-to-head. Punileo again with a carry. Baylor to Anderson. Quick hands. Masters. Well, she's isolated Masters. The arriving players get there just in time. Baylor having to turn around and get that one was Gabby Sutherland. Another thumping hit. And there really is no love lost, as we've mentioned plenty of times in this game. Vahai putting in some footwork, but around the ankles goes Wilson Jenkins. Long passage of play. Bloomfield knocks the ball on. Looks like she hit the leg of a player on the ground. And you can hear the roar from the Waikato team. They're getting up for it.
Well, they've had a second burst of energy, haven't they? And the interplay between the two. Check this hit out from Aldora Haitunu. Almost pinballs. Gabby Sullivan there. She gets back on her feet. They recycle ball. Here, look at that. Get that one in ya.
Aldora Itunu is a very experienced campaigner and has put plenty of hits like that. Her and her sister.
Shoulders of doom, the Itunu sisters.
Playing in her 54th Farah Palmer game today is Aldora. This is time off here just for an injury. But the second half has been a lot faster than the first, hasn't it, honey?
Yeah, absolutely. I really enjoyed that last phase of play from Waikato, just the interplay between the backs and forwards, and especially Tuka Natua. She's put in a huge shift for the Waikato team, playing big minutes this week as well. Well, her experience is vital to this team. She's a ferocious player with ball in hand. You see they're starting to pull a few more phases of play together. The weather continues to be unkind to these players out there, but they've put that in the back of their heads now, and they're out here ready to bash each other.
Caitlin Vahakolo, her and along with Mikale Tu'u and Demand have been very good for Auckland today. As I said, every time she gets ball in hand, she's like a pocket rocket. It always has to go hard and lifts her team's energy.
Oh, she can create something out of nothing. Caitlin Vahakolo, she doesn't need a lot of space. You see it just slice through defenders. As Waikato now take their opportunities.
Baylor finds Horhepper, and then they get the pass out now. They're getting to the edges. Better stuff from Waikato. Sorensen McGee. See, Kaya Nepia onto the field for Waikato. There she is, ball in hand. Gives the fake. Vahakolo tries to wrestle the ball off her. Unsuccessful. Baylor tries to dart down that short side. Leaving the ball behind was Edamir. It will be a Waikato line-out throw.
Well, you saw the backline move there. Change tack that time. Instead of hitting Anna Masters, Carla Horhepper decides to go wide to find Kaya Nepia out on the fringe here. They found some good space. Once again, important. Grace Hopapa now with the throw.
Perfect execution of the line out to Kennedy Simon. Blackwell around the head of Simon as well, being told to let go, and they're going sideways at the moment. Oh, Waikato, and somehow it ends up in the hands of Roos. But it's Waikato ball once more, so they'll have another crack at this line out thing.
Maya Roos does well to break down that drive. They started to get some momentum, but as it turned, the real intent now. You can see Waikato chasing tries. They want to get some more points back up.
Hopapa Barrett, they change the target this time to Puni Leo, but it's still a drive. So they got some go forward now. Driving slowly but surely Waikato. They're broken away to Gabby Sullivan. Markia decides to run up the middle. Trying to compete was Itsuno. They go into the midfield. Nepia puts in the kick. It's going to work out for them though. No, in fact, it's been knocked on. offside penalty, I think that move was.
They didn't quite get that right, Nepia. It looks like it is an offside call there. On Carla Hohepa, she was slightly in front of Kaya Nepia.
Remember, Waikato have not lost a game this season. The only undefeated team in the Farah Palmer Cup Premiership.
Their last 3 wins have come with very small margins in between the two teams, so they're used to grinding out games, and the momentum has really shifted backwards and forwards between these two teams. We see Whakanatua, she finally gets a rest. She's had a good shift for Waikato today.
Nagata back of the lineup. Well, that was called on the outside arm, but not called by the referee. So Mika Netu throws herself into contact. Bloomfield goes to the left. The mat decides to switch. She puts up the kick, makes it contestable, and it's going to bounce into touch. That's a really nice kick from Demand.
Yeah, once again, Demand just using her game smarts, having that real tactical awareness and able to find space and behind the Waikato defensive line. As they continue to keep chipping away. Caitlin Crozier, she comes on for Tukanatua. See her taking her space at the front of the line out there.
Bruce gets up to disrupt, and now Auckland hot on attack inside the 22 through Nagata. Bloomfield comes back to this right-hand side. Utunu runs high and into the tackle of Hope Upper Barrett, but Waikato are on this ball. And we could be seeing yellow. Yes, it's... Who's going to the bin? Kennedy Simon.
Kennedy Simon. Looks like she's been sent for offside again. Now, remember earlier, Tiana Ngawati did have a chat to them around offside. They've had multiple infringements. She's pinged Kennedy Simon for this one, and that could be vital for Waikato. You know, Kennedy Simon is such a huge player for them, so to lose her for the next 10 minutes, you'll only see a couple of minutes towards the end, so Waikato now need to step up to cover specifically defensively, because she has always been a defensive weapon for Waikato.
Wouldn't be surprised if we see an 8-9 play as well, knowing that there is shorter Lucy.
You've got Vahakola here. She's coming to the short side as well, so they've got plenty of options. Gabby Sutherland, she's sussing out what Auckland's about to do from the back there.
And they do go down that short side through. Mika Letu throws the ball behind her head, falls in the hands of Waikato, but setting the ball back is France Bloomfield, and they're going to try and get close. Might have been Utunu, yes it is. A metre away now, Blackwell, ball in hand, driven back. Good defence from Waikato in close quarters. Demand puts the kick up. There's space out there. Who's going to come up trumps for high? And that is a wonderfully worked try by the Auckland Storm, and really feeling the effects of being one woman down are Waikato.
Well, once again, the experience and the exceptional player that she is, Ruahei Demand. You see them, they go off the back of the scrum heads. Waikato do well defensively to hold the forwards, the Auckland forwards out. But eventually, they filter the ball back to Ruahei, who just plays with so much time and space. Pinpoint kick, hits the mark perfectly. And Vahai have managed to keep her out for all of this game up until now. Knew she was going to get on the board at some point.
Good confident kick as well from Demant too, because they weren't under a penalty advantage or anything like that. Just backed her wingers and her outside backs to get there.
Well, when you have a skill set like Ruahei Demant, you want to use it, especially in tight tussle games like this. Just the vision that she offers this team and the confidence to put that kick up, specifically in these conditions. When you got the likes of Angelica Miki Vahai on the end of it, perfectly executed.
And given how rare points and tries have been scored in this game, this could, in fact, be the try that seals the deal for Auckland. Still 9 minutes to go in this game. Waikato can surely score quickly. To see Vahai score that try. So they're down by 10, Waikato, as we mentioned earlier. They have not lost a game this season. Last time they met, though, Auckland won by 5 points in the semi-final, 26-21. Can they repeat it? Itunu brings the ball down. Bloomfield to Demant. And rolling in. The changes are Auckland in the front row. Roos in some space, enjoying some freedom, looking for some support. Doesn't get there. And another big collision in the middle of the field. The impact of Po'oi and Tulifale off the bench. Demant in some space again. Hops over the first tackle. Vahai has the ball. Can she get a double? Gives the ball unselfishly to Liana Mikaeletu, and Auckland with their tails up, starting to run away with it.
There you go. They're giving this band something to cheer about, and so they should be. That was a beautifully worked try, and if we could put Liana Mikaeletu on the scoreboard against her name, but you have to give a full team effort for this one. Demant, Vahai, all had a hand in it. Liana Mikaeletu, she gets the treats to her alongside her name to finish it off. But what about the impact from the bench? Also from Auckland, Poe, Tulefale, both putting in big shifts. Aitunu. They're really starting to take charge of this game as Auckland Storm.
So after trailing 3 points to 8 at halftime, Auckland have scored 20 unanswered points. With a kick still to come from Demant. She really has been a maestro of all things today, has Demant. She'd almost got an assist in every try we've seen. Successful as well, so 25 points to 8. The Auckland Storm lead Waikato, the only undefeated team in the Farah Palmer Cup, and they may not be like that for long. Waikato with a restart. It's dropped cold by Pulu, so Waikato want to try and pack the scrum quickly because it's not exactly out of reach for them. If they can get this down quick.
Yeah, good pressure from Waikato coming in there. They opted for the short kick-off and it pays off for them. They set up for this line out. More changes coming in. It looks like Sam Wood has come on as Ariana Bailey gets a rest.
Wood with her first feed into the scrum. It's a good one too. Fires the pass out to Hohepa. She challenges the line. Ball available for Wood. There's definitely some space on the right edge if they can get it to their speed and quickly. It's Edamir this time. Holds the pass. Wood. Into Nipia. Anderson. Wood again. Kalona Vale. We haven't seen her with too much ball in hand, but big collision between the front rowers. They're going to pick and go from here. Makia thrown to ground. Another pick from Ash Gabby Sutherland there. Kalona Vale. Well, everyone just stopped because they thought she knocked it on. Continuing with ball in hand is Puni Leo. Gets that pass down the short side and it's not accurate, so they're driven backwards. Thumped in the tackle by Gillian Faumu Waikato. Haupapa Barrett, she's been good since she's come on to the field. Wood to Puni Leo, another replacement for Waikato who's really made an impact. Running on to that ball, there's Anderson. Slow recycle there from Waikato. Nipia puts the ball in. Bobbles it along the ground and then Auckland can't take it cleanly. Vahakolo eventually finds Ruth. They got space out on the edge. It's been knocked on by Wood, so Vahakolo will try and go again. And she's been so impressive with every single run, has Vahakolo. Such a handful to bring down. And it's just starting to become a bit laboured from both teams.
Yeah, it's a good little chip there. Good little option from Nepia to see Alia Kornui has since come on for Waikato as well. They've emptied the bench.
So Waikato will have their first loss of the season at the hands of this Auckland Storm team who started off with a shock loss to Hawke's Bay and have won every game since. And it looks like their record here at Colin Maiden Park will stay intact. They've yet to lose a game here in their history. As Bloomfield gets the pass out to Demand. Going to run it from inside their own in goal, and the pass was forward to Vahakolo. They're both wince. So this is an opportunity here for Waikato to try and get some points, because points differential could be important come the latter stages of the season.
Yeah, definitely. The pass floating forward there. It would have been a good foot race though. And she's hard to reel in. Caitlin Vahakolo. Again, as Waikato, they start to set here for the scrum. Young Sam Wood out of Melville Rugby. And Kennedy Simon's just come back on the field from her yellow card, so she'll want to put in a big push this last couple of minutes.
Costly too, with 2 tries being scored by Auckland in her absence. Goes to show the impact that she has when she's on the field. Not only defensively, but as a leader as well. So after this, Auckland will play at home. Against Canterbury. And then Waikato will play at home against Wellington as well. Wellington in real danger of being relegated to the championship. Wood gets the ball to Hohepa. Lovely line being run from Masters. Those two have been good in the midfield today in a losing side. Trying to shift the ball out. This is a good kick coming across from Kornui, but just dribbled across that touchline, but they've got an offside penalty too.
Well, it's a good option, and I love the confidence from young Alia Kornui to back herself, give something a go as they go again.
Wood takes a quick tap. Kalona Vale tries to power her way forward, gets about half a metre away from the line. You can see the ball clearly there. Getting in low are Auckland. going to be a real arm wrestle to get that ball in over that line. Kalone Valet has her hands on it once more. Cut just short. They're going to fire it out now to the outsides. Brilliant skip out pass. And it will be the youngster Alia Konui scoring in just her second game for Waikato out of the Hamilton Old Boys Club. And it's good vision there from the veteran in Kala Hohepa.
Oh, it's a great way to finish the game. They'll be disappointed with the overall result. But I must admit, the changes that have come in from Waikato, they've put in a good push. You can see Sam Wood, she's rushing this kick. She nails it.
Oh, it's going to be too little too late for Waikato. She rushed the kick, hoping to get another restart and try and get some more points to finish within 7 for a bonus point, but it is not to be. 25 points to 15. Auckland with a come from behind win over Waikato.